Hey, it's Kobe from K King Trucking. I've been running my box truck for 4 years and counting. Last year we did 1.7 million in gross revenue and the business is still rolling. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to run a successful box truck business and the mindset you need to get there, and this is how you're gonna do it. My mindset before starting my box truck business was a hustler's mindset. I always thought that if I'm putting my time in, if I'm grinding, if I'm getting things figured out, I would be able to make a good amount of money. But I always just wanted to be comfortable. That was like my main goal in life before I started my business, was just finding a way to be stable in life and be comfortable because of things I had experienced growing up. And I never thought it was possible to get to where I'm at today. And there was a mindset shift from survival mentality to abundance mentality. And it's still growing and growing every single day. What made me believe I could build a 7-figure box truck business without a CDL is just believed in myself. Again, like I said, before I started, I was working 2 jobs, 7 days a week for over a year, just growing and trying to grind, trying to build up some capital to do something for myself. But I knew that the work ethic and hustler's mentality that I had was gonna get me somewhere far. I just didn't know how it was gonna happen. But starting this business, I knew that I could put my time and energy into it and grow it to where it could be something that was bigger than myself. The mindset someone has to have to be successful in this trucking business is that you won't fail and you won't quit, because things that's gonna be thrown at you every single day. You're away from home, you're away from family, you're spending a good amount of money to make money. You know, and you think about it, you invest money in a fuel to make more money. So it's a constant thing that you've probably never done before, when you're just working a job and you put your time in, and after 2 weeks or a week, you get paid for that time. Same sort of concept, but it's a lot more that goes into it as far as time, energy, and money. People that have never done it before, it's gonna be a new awakening, but the learning curve has to be there for you to be able to hit new strides and be able to run a successful trucking company. And for those of you that think you can't start a box truck business with no experience, it's completely untrue. I mean, I started with no experience. Most people have started with no experience. But at the end of the day, we put our time in because of persistence and perseverance to be able to grow your business and make it something that's great. I always say that if you could put a certain amount of time into anything, into any craft, you'll be great at it. So for example, you know, we go to high school for 4 years. We get a high school degree after that. Then we go to college for 4 years, and then we get a college degree after that. We go off into the world and we get better jobs. That 4 years is something that we quote unquote mastered. We master something, you know, economics, whatever the degree is. It's the same concept for putting time into a craft that has nothing to do with school. You're putting the time and energy into you and money, and you're growing yourself. You're mastering yourself. So if you could do the same thing with a business, and a business like box trucking, you could be great. You can do something that you never thought you could do. I never thought I'd run $1 million company until I did it. So you just never know until you do the thing. Before I started, I just wanted to be stable, and I blew it out the water. The difference between someone that succeeds in this business versus someone that fails is not making any excuses. You're gonna deal with so many different things that are thrown at you that you never experienced because you just never ran a business. And people that make excuses when times get tough, people that decide, hey, this is just not for me, I didn't know it was gonna be this much, they're the ones that fail and go back to working their 9-to-5s, working at Smith's and these different places, being a waiter again, because they just made excuses. They thought things were gonna be easy, and nothing in life that's handed to you is gonna be special. So you want to put the time in, put the energy in, you know, be out there on the road, learn the business through all the mistakes that you'll make. The mindset someone has to have when it comes to risk with starting a business and taking out loans or putting up capital is, what are you gonna do otherwise if you don't do it? If you're saving up a good amount of capital from your daily life, obviously that shows that you're good at saving. So if you can put that into a business that can grow tenfold, why wouldn't you do it? Some people are scared to take out loans, whether it's just a line of credit, whether it's for a truck, but these things are gonna propel you so much further in life and in business because you use debt. You know, rich people that are wealthy, they use debt to make money. They don't just only use their money. Now, it's not to say that they've never used their money, but there's a such thing as good debt, and you have to be able to take out loans. That is a risk because, of course, you know, there's a chance of forfeiting on your loan, but if you have the mindset that that'll never happen, it's not even something to think about. So risk assessment is a thing, but at the end of the day, if you're putting it into yourself and not into someone else's hands, that's why I love box trucking, because you're putting the business into your hands, and you always have to think back to, what would you be doing otherwise? The biggest change in my mindset from making $0 in business to making over $1.5 million a year is understanding that there's levels to it. Making money is an amazing thing, but in order to keep pushing that number, keep pushing those boundaries, you can't get too high or too low about the money that's coming in, because every dollar has to go somewhere. You have to understand that there's money that has to go aside for taxes and to drivers, and the business has to save money. I want to be able to pay myself. So there's things that have to be in place. You can't get too high or too low about the money, because if you're doing the right things with the money and with the business, it's just gonna keep growing and expanding. And when I think about $1.5 million a year, I think of, if I'm gonna make 3 next year, And then the year after that, am I gonna make 5? Am I gonna make 6 a year? So it's all about growth. When it comes to making money in life, you want your money to make money. Just because I'm able to pay myself a certain amount of money doesn't mean that I don't want that money to keep compounding and keep expanding and everything like that. So I don't think too much about it like I used to. I used to get so high when money would come in, and I would be so low mentally when things were bad. And I had to understand that money is just energy, and money is gonna keep coming in if I have the abundance mindset for the business. And so when it comes to paying, large bills for maintenance, or paying our drivers a good amount of money, or insurance, putting down $20,000 for my insurance so it's cheaper for the year, things like that. It's just, I don't think about it anymore. It's just about how it's gonna keep growing from that time frame and what it's gonna look like the following year and the following year. It's just having the long mindset, the long game in mind, than, just the momentary things that are there. It's not to say that you can't be excited about it, because it's still a big difference from, learning and starting and not making anything to, making a good amount of money every single year. But also you have to understand that dollars are here to make more dollars. So don't get too excited, because there's still more growth that has to be done. My mindset to stay calm when things hit the fan is that I've been here before, that I've experienced this before, or that understanding that I have to invest in into my trucks to be able to keep the trucks running, because the trucks are the money makers. So if I'm constantly just always, tripping or just like getting too high or too low in these situations, that things are going on, because things always go on. Like, these trucks are imperfect, drivers are imperfect. So, you can't get too high or too low. You have to understand that when situations come and arise, you just have to deal with them as they come and then move on, because more stuff is gonna happen. Obviously, we want nothing to happen. We want things to run perfectly all the time, but that's just not the case in business. So you just have to deal with things as they come. I don't even really think too much about, certain scenarios anymore. Of course, things can be irritating. I probably get irritated a lot personally, but practicing patience is a good thing, and just understanding that I'm meant for this, and that one thing is gonna pop up and I'm gonna have to deal with it and move on and go about my day to make my day, the rest of my day, a great thing. And a big thing is dealing with things fast. You never want things to fester. You always want to deal with a situation quickly and then move on. For example, if you have a driver that's just not doing what you need them to do, they're being disrespectful, maybe, not being placed on time, you tell them they have to deliver a certain day, they deliver a different day. You tell them that they have to, do the 10-hour reset, and then they don't, and then now you have an inspection and you don't pass the inspection because of that. Just things like that. You can't let them fester. If things aren't working the way that you want them to, you have to change something, or deal with it head on. Maybe speak to that driver, tell them, hey, if this happens again, I can't work with you anymore. With the truck, if a truck is having issues, fix it right away. Don't let it just keep running and then eventually break down somewhere and then you're in a way worse spot. If you have no DPF issues, you want to make sure you get your DPF clean, just to make sure that down the line, you're not having a red light come on in the middle of nowhere, and now you're looking at a $10,000 bill because you have to get it towed plus replace the DPF and things like that. So you have to do things preventatively and make the best of every situation that arises. Some of you guys that are watching this video and my content are people that are interested in starting a business but are just afraid to start, and that's probably a mindset thing. But at the end of the day, you always want to think back to, what do you want your life to look like? What do you think of yourself? If you have kids, what do you want for your kids? If you want to set an example for someone, what can you do to be a good example for somebody going after it? They say, like, go for broke. You don't want to always stay in the same position. You want to be able to grow out of these different things. And maybe trucking is the thing that gets you to that real estate company, or maybe trucking is something that gets you to build a great portfolio, or maybe trucking is something that you could do forever and grow and grow and grow. Is something that you could do for a time or season. But at the end of the day, you don't want to stay stagnant and complacent. You want to keep growing and growing and growing. Just like I said, if you put 4 years into something and then maybe it's another 4 years into something else, or maybe you do 15 years into trucking, it's just end up selling your business. You want to have the mindset that you could do whatever that you set your mind to. You want to take some risk in life, because people that are well off, they take risks. And they continually take risks. And they don't think about how much risk it is all the time. They do risk assessments, but at the end of the day, you have to take risks to be able to better yourself in the start. It's like seeing that pretty girl that you want to talk to. Like, you're thinking in your head, hey, like, I don't know, she'll reject me. But at the end of the day, you could go and talk to her, and then next thing you know, you guys are together the next 10 years and you got 2 little babies together. it. So it's just always risk. But if you're here to make money, if you're here to grow like I am, if you're here to leave a legacy and to build something for yourself, you gotta take risks, you gotta think now, you have to move quickly, and you gotta be that person, that guy or that lady that's gonna make things happen for themselves. And for those of you that are watching, that are like, dang, I really wanna start my box short business, maybe just a little scared, I made it super easy for you. I have a 17-step blueprint down below that you can click on. It'll show you all the steps to get into the business. It's completely free. It's gonna give you step-by-step for starting off, how to get your MC, where to go, how much to pay, insurance, all these different things that you need to make sure you know and have a checklist for when you're starting off. So make sure you check that out. I appreciate you guys watching my content. I'm here to post the most transparent content on YouTube, and also follow me on my Instagram at KKingTrucking, where I post all my daily work, things that I'm fixing in the business, things I'm doing, just the consistency that I'm showing. Everything is 100% accurate. I don't sugarcoat anything, because what's the point of that? I feel that transparency and authenticity is something that people follow, not BS. And I think people that watch my content understand the difference between authenticity and BS. So appreciate you guys. I'm Kobe from KKingTrucking. Peace.